Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and this is I don't know, it's kind of an overview, it's kind of a speed build, kind of both. I know that a lot of people have already done overviews of all the items that came with the new vampire pack, so I just kind of wanted to build something and use as many of the items as I could. I don't think I used every single item, but yeah. I had a lot of fun though, and this build is located in Forgotten Hollow. It's, I forget the size of it, but it's the lot that's kind of in the middle of the world. It was one of the houses that had like all the garlic on it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I wanted to build kind of like an abandoned, old, gothic-looking Victorian home. It is a tad expensive, only because there's a bunch of stuff in there, but, you know, there's always the free real estate cheat that you can use if you're just starting out in Forgotten Hollow. I looked at several, like, Victorian homes online that were darker and more creepy looking, and I really wanted to emulate the ones that I saw. One of them I saw, which was pretty interesting, it had like a side entrance almost, like a little entrance that would go into, I'm assuming, the parlor, because that's where you would more often than not entertain guests when they first come to your home. So that's kind of where that's leading to, and the front door is, I guess, just a formal entryway, and there's a little porch in the front. Probably the hardest thing about this build was the roof, which always is the hardest thing, let's be honest. But, yeah, I had a good time with this. It took me about 3 hours to make, well, 3.5 or so, but I didn't really mind. Afterward, I was like, really? It's already like 5? And I started at like 2 in the afternoon. Oh, some good news, you guys. I'm going to be getting a new mic and a new headset or headphones or whatever, because I realized that my audio quality probably isn't the best thing ever. And that's because the headset that I use, it's kind of cheap and it's kind of old, and it's just, you know, what I have to make do for now. So yeah, I came across a little bit of money recently, so I thought what better way than to invest in my channel than kind of upping my audio game a bit. So I hope that works out. I'm still trying to kind of like research what's the best mic that I should get and what's the best headphones I should get within my price range. So it's proving a little difficult, but if any of you guys are YouTubers and you're super happy with your setup, feel free to comment down below and send me links to check out, because I've been searching for a few days and I'm like at a loss almost. There's so many different ones out there. So as you can see here in the front, I used some of the new windows that came with the vampire pack, as well as some of the new friezes, I think they're called, the trim that goes around the roof and the middle of the house, as well as the trim that goes around the porch area. So this one house I was looking at, it had like a very tall tower kind of in the front area. So I wanted to make it look as detailed as I could in The Sims with what we have for now, because I wish that we had like rounded roofs or roofs that were octagonal one day. But yeah, it had like this big window in the front of the tower, but it wasn't really looking how I wanted it to look. the windows that came with the vampire pack are honestly kind of small, and they didn't really include any really tall windows except for the really blocky ones that they're just not for every day, and they're not as versatile as these. But I understand that we couldn't get like a ton of stuff because it's just a game pack. So what they gave us in terms of gameplay is actually really cool. I'm thinking about doing like a little mini series that's vampire related, but I'm not sure. And as far as like my channel goes, if you've watched or kept up with any of my Let's Plays, I'm still not entirely sure where I want to go with the Hargrove family. I don't know if I just want to continue it in season 2 or if I want to just can it or just change it to be more of a free play Let's Play instead of having a bunch of story and machinima. I don't know. So if you guys watch it and have watched it, let me know what you think about that. And yeah, so here I'm just putting in some roof trimmings because Victorian homes were often super ornate on the roofs and on the facade of the house. So a cool thing that I found is you can actually use the shelves, any kind of shelf really, and size them up and put them underneath your roofs or underneath your windows, and it just makes it have a little more detail than you might have not otherwise. I liked these kind of traditional looking shelves. They made it a little more fancy, I think, because there's not really anything as far as like decorations in the little outside shelving tab that looks like this or makes sense. So yeah, I just used some shelves, and I love these new plants that we got in the pack. They're all like dead and dry looking. It's really cool, especially if you're trying to do an abandoned house, which is what I was doing. Or is it? So here I'm starting on the garden, and I'm just making a little gazebo here on the side. In Victorian homes, especially more stately homes, I would think this house is probably like maybe dates back to the 1850s. They were very much into going outside and soaking up as much sun as they could as a leisure activity. So decided to put a little gazebo over here because I wanted to include kind of like an overgrown garden of some type, and I thought it turned out really cool. I like all of the statues in it, and there's like, you'll see in a minute, there's a fountain in the middle that has overgrown flowers and bushes in it. And yeah, I really like how it turned out. I wanted to make like an overgrown type of like stone path or something that goes from the front of the house to the gazebo, and I wanted it to look like there was grass that kind of grew over some parts of it. And in here is like a little seating area inside the gazebo, and just trying to put in like overgrown plants and some of the flowers and plants that look like they're just kind of wild. I low-key love landscaping. Like, I didn't used to. It was always kind of like an annoying chore in a way, but I've grown to really love it. It's almost therapeutic in a way because you can, place a bunch of the same thing at one time. So, I don't know. It's kind of therapeutic. I like it. I wanted to use that little line fountain thing, but it didn't really make sense. And I really like this idea. I put the fairy statue on top of the fountain, and it looks like it's part of it, and I love it because, I don't know, we don't have a lot of fountain options in the game, I feel like, so it just kind of added a little more variety, I think. Here I'm just putting some gravestones because maybe this is like a memoriam or like a memorial garden or something for the people who used to live here. So maybe they had like their loved ones buried in the garden, which is kind of a nice notion, I guess, but I wouldn't want to have dead people in my garden. And what's weird though is in the Victorian era, people were very obsessed with like morbid things. They used to actually take pictures of people who died. They would set up their loved ones or their friends or whatever in such a way that it would make them look like they were still living. And they would take a picture of them. And like sometimes, like for example, if one of their kids died or something, they would have their other kid sit next to them and take a picture. Isn't that crazy? I don't know what that's all about. But yeah, a little creepy, a little scary, but true facts for you. So now we're going on to the inside. It's not really a big house, but it's pretty cozy and everything works, I think. I honestly didn't play test this, so you might have to move a few things around because I was more focused on using the items and, you know, making it look pretty, so I really don't know, but it's up on the gallery if you want to download it. I don't think there's any mods, so you shouldn't have any problems. You have to have the vampire pack, obviously. So the idea for this house, like I said, it's supposed to be abandoned, and it's supposed to have been abandoned for forever. And my idea is maybe a curious sim might stumble upon the house and be like, I wonder what's in here, and who knows what they might find. You'll see what's in here in a bit, though. Obviously, a vampire lives here. And so there's a secret room for the vampire to kind of sleep and hibernate. I hope you guys are having fun with drinking plasma and then flying around in the coffin, woohoo. I haven't played much with it yet. Like I said, I'm thinking about doing a mini-series, but still thinking about it. But yeah, I love all the items that came in this pack. Like, I can finally make Victorian houses without having to use a bunch of CC. You know what I mean? Like, the wallpapers are beautiful. The decor is beautiful. I am a big fan of this pack. And I actually wasn't, like, a fan to begin with. I was pretty skeptical. But I mentioned that in my review. If you haven't seen that, I'll provide a link to that in the corner, on the top right corner, as well as in the bottom. So you can check that out if you're interested. I know a lot of people have done overviews, so that's why I decided to do a speed build instead. But if you're so inclined, you can check that out anyways. And what's really cool with this pack, it comes with these decals that make the walls look like they're cracked or torn or whatever. And you can actually put them on the windows, and they look like the window is cracked. So that's awesome. And the decals are, like, they're free. So if you use a lot of decals, it's not going to up the price of your house in any way, which is awesome. The pack also comes with these awesome cobwebs, and these cobwebs, they actually have little spiders that will, they're animated, so they'll move on the cobwebs, and it's amazing, and I love it. The cobwebs are honestly one of my favorite things in this pack. I love these new curtains that came with the pack. They're so beautiful and so grand. Like, we no longer need to size up the regular curtains and place smaller ones on the inside to make it work. You know what I mean? So nice. And then if you want to make this beautiful chandelier even more grand, you can actually put a little chandelier above it, and it makes it look kind of layered almost. So that's cool. There is some things in this lot that I used the move objects on cheat. So make sure you have that on before you place your lot, so that way nothing disappears on you, because I couldn't tell you what items I did use that cheat for. So yeah, just make sure you have that in mind. So here I'm working on the kitchen, and obviously since a vampire lives here, they're not going to use it. They drink plasma, so it's just kind of an old remnant of the house, and it's just kind of there, but they don't really need it. I guess unless, the vampire is a good vampire and they choose to eat plasma dishes and packs and stuff, and they can make it for themselves, and that would prove useful. Oh, this urn, it's so beautiful. And that little book on this stand is also a new item. But anyway, I don't think I ever finished my thought. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this pack at first. But then I saw the build items in the buy, and I was like, well, I guess EA is gonna take my money because this is amazing. Here I am just doing the front sitting room parlor area. It was a little bit small because I wanted to fit a fireplace in this room, so decided to extend it a little bit. So there's like this awkward little piece sticking out of this side, but it's hidden by the big tree, so it's okay, right? This fireplace is also a new item, which is beautiful. And you all know we always need new fireplaces. But yeah, so this room is kind of themed in a way, I guess. I really loved the tapestry that came with the pack. That's a new item. And one of the swatches, it's like a tree. Well, you can see it there. It's a tree with like red accents around it. that lounge chair. So beautiful. That's a new item. But yeah, so anyway, the tree tapestry. So I was looking at it and I was like, that's so pretty. the fringy layup. Oh. Anyway, yeah. So that's a new item too. That sofa with the round detail in the middle. So Victorian, so beautiful. So I was looking at the tapestry and it had a lot of blues and greens and reds in it. So I wanted to kind of theme the sitting area or the front parlor to match the artwork or the tapestry. So that's why that room is kind of like blue and green and all that. Everywhere else is kind of red and warm tones, I would say. This rug is amazing. So this rug actually comes in two pieces. There's an end piece and then there's like a straight piece that connects the two ends, which is amazing because now we can have a runner as long as we want it to be, and we don't have to like finagle with two rugs or two or three or more rugs and hope for the best, and they never lined up right because they always had an edge. So I'm happy with that. I'm so glad they did that. So this little room on the side next to the stairs is the bathroom. It's pretty simple, I guess, as far as bathrooms go. It just kind of has a bathtub, a sink, and a toilet. And I think there's an armoire in here, one of the new armoires. Oh, the sink is so gorgeous. And that mirror is new as well. But yeah. It was, I really enjoyed these new items, especially that antique toilet. Like, what? That's actually what they looked like back in the day, like in the early 1900s, like late 1800s, when people started having plumbing more widely available. They would have like a tank on top, and they would have the little handle that they would pull on after they were done. And that's how they were. These tiles that I'm using on the bathroom floor, those are new and they're gorgeous. They come in a lot of different colorways. There's, I think, like 6 different new wallpapers that came with this pack or something. They're all kind of subtly vampire themed in which they have like florals and bats and yeah, just really cool. And I love how subtle they are too. So you can use them even in like a home that's not vampire themed and nobody would probably even notice. So that's awesome. So this set of stairs goes to the attic, and the attic is actually where our secret vampire lives. And I actually put a room, like a master suite, on this floor. I was kind of thinking maybe, you know, the vampire used to use this room when they were living and just kind of moved to the attic. And figured the best practice was to stay hidden because nobody really goes to the attic, right? And you can just stay hidden and pounce on their unsuspecting victim when they come in the house curious about it. This painting didn't come with the vampire stuff pack. It came with the spooky stuff pack, I think. The Halloween themed one. But the first time I saw it, I was so freaked out by it. I was like, what just happened? Because it actually changes if you don't have the pack. This painting right here. She turns from a sweet looking Victorian woman to like a crazy evil vampire. So I kind of imagined that this house belonged to this woman. And maybe she was the founder of like a vampire coven or something. That's what I imagined anyway. This is one of the new doors. I don't know if you saw it or not right there. It's really big. It's a 3-tile, I think it's a 3-tile door. But yeah, it's so beautiful though. It's really ornate in the front. And yeah, I really, really like this pack. Those little lamps on the side are also new, and so is this rug on the floor. There's several different swatches for that. I like the idea of maybe like some of the ivy from the outside kind of creeped in on the inside. So there's some ivy on the inside of the house in different places. And this room, I guess, is kind of like a great room or like a living room of sorts. That isn't the parlor downstairs. So there's a chess table and I put some bookshelves here. Just adding some cracks and little patches to the walls here. Just making it look extra grody. Maybe this was her before or I don't know who it is. Maybe it's someone in the coven. Okay, moving on up to the attic. So the attic has this new stone walls that came with the pack, and this is a coffin, which is also a new item, obviously. It's one of the more ornate coffins, and I wanted it to be kind of secret and not so obvious, so I put the fake bookshelf doors there so they could go in and out without being noticed. Obviously, I had to put in the vampire llama somewhere on this lot because it's one of my favorite items ever. So yeah, and I just put, a bunch of candles and roses and things like that. Things you might find in a vampire sanctuary. Just adding some random furniture pieces and decor items up here because it's supposed to be an attic, so there's probably like random things up here that are just kind of stored away. And I thought it was kind of like weird that there's just 2, so I added a few more of those secret doors with some ivy on top, so it looks like it's just abandoned and decrepit. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I had so much fun building this house. I can't wait to build more Victorian homes. And yeah, I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!